Good evening. My name is Samuel Cook, and this is speech 3. These are my keywords. For this speech, I would like to talk about social media and how it has been impactful on our society. So if you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend. There's a documentary called The Social Dilemma, which is very good. And in it discusses how Twitter and Instagram have been designed to be the most addicting social media platform possible. And the reason why is to gain our attention, right? To keep our attention, to keep people scrolling, to keep them looking at posts. And once you have that, the other thing Facebook does is it sells our attention to the highest bidder. So influential people with a lot of money pay Facebook for its data that it has on all of us of what we enjoy, how long we enjoy it for, and even where we live, how old you are, everything you've given to Facebook it has. And it uses that to create a model of the population, which can then be used to engineer public opinion. So what we see in our social media platforms these days is that they're not just for communication. They're not just sharing Christmas cards with grandma. They're also for engineering our opinion and trying to efficiently disseminate an idea in the public through memes. So if you're not aware of this, during the 2016 election, the Zoomer population called it the Great Meme War. Now, this sentiment, though zany and perhaps tongue-in-cheek, I don't think it's far off. I think what we did see was, in fact, a meme war between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. Both of them had targeted ad campaigns for the population, and both of them made memes of the other. Now, this is nothing new. We've seen this in political campaigns the world over since there have been political campaigns. However, what is new is the scale that it's on. Now, people can be targeted individually. We can target populations accurately and specifically with information that they're highly likely to respond to based on many, many different sample points from everybody hooked into the web using this technology. There's another documentary known as The Great Hack. It's also on Netflix, and I highly recommend you watch this as well if you care to know more about this subject. So The Great Hack covers the 2016 election and the meme war in detail. It goes behind the scenes. And there was a company known as Cambridge Analytica. Now, what Cambridge Analytica did was they paid Facebook for data on all U.S. citizens, and they constructed a highly efficient ad campaign in support of Donald Trump. Now, what these consisted of was anti-Hillary memes, various memes supporting right political stances, and it depended largely on the community. Each meme was tailored to what the community was most likely to respond to. And from Cambridge Analytica's own data that they had on their servers, it was released after they had been raided after the 2016 election. It is clear that they were the most influential factor in getting Donald Trump elected, aside from the United States media, but that's another story. So both sides have done this. Both parties were guilty of this kind of political pandering. However, the Republican Party had done it most effectively, and this caused the Facebook scandal that followed, where Mark Zuckerberg was on trial, and I think we remember all of that. So, with all this being said, with the knowledge that our social media platforms are engineered by algorithms and that our data is sold to third parties that wish to sell us ideas or merchandise. It may seem grim. What do we do from now? Like, where do we go from here? Well, what I would suggest is we need to make social media platforms a public resource. What it needs to be is what it was intended to be, a public forum for free exchange of ideas and communication of thought. Right now, with these algorithms and perhaps nefarious business models, we are experiencing a smokescreen on our social media platforms that do not allow us to communicate with each other honestly, that do not allow us to receive honest information from the environment, right? We see news that is slanted or that has some sort of political bent, or that is from some third party that would influence us to think as it would. We don't see objective raw information or many things that allow us to make our own opinions or come to our own conclusions. And that, I think, is paramount, especially if we are to reach a common ground as a nation where we can discuss these issues without violence, without any sort of bigotry or predilections. We're going to need to communicate honestly, and in order to be able to do that, we have to have honest access to information. So how do we do that? Well, first we would have to change the Facebook and basically all of our social media. We have to change the business model so that it's not, predicated on selling user data, and that way it becomes oriented for the users. The users have to be in control of their own data, and they have to be in control of their own access to information. Now, I don't think it does not mean we should get rid of algorithms. What I think we should do instead is develop open source algorithms for the social media platform that function as data harvesting engines or data harvesting bots. And so with the user's choice, it will go and gather data that the user wants, with various tags. I think that would be a more effective, user-centric model of a social media algorithm that could be implemented in the future. Until then, what I think we should do is simply acknowledge that these issues exist and do our best to be informed about all issues and about both sides. And we should do our best to try to get out of our own bubbles and what we see only on our own social media feeds. Like maybe we can, subscribe to a page you wouldn't normally subscribe to, or go and look at opposing opinions on Twitter or on another social media platform. Or better yet, in real life, go talk to a real person who doesn't agree with you. Either way, I think that if we are cognizant of our relationship to social media, we will be okay. Thank you.